Hello everyone, welcome to this series on literary theory, and in this video we are going to discuss the limitations of cultural studies. Introduction. Cultural studies is a multidisciplinary field that has made significant contributions to understanding contemporary society and culture. However, its strengths can also be its weaknesses, leading to criticisms and challenges in its application. This video explores the limitations of cultural studies, focusing on its emphasis on diversity, lack of rigorous research methodologies, pedagogical concerns, contemporary focus, critique of mass media, the debate between popular and elite culture, the ongoing culture wars in academia, and the crisis in the humanities. Emphasis on diversity can dilute focus. One of the primary strengths of cultural studies is its emphasis on diversity of approach and subject matter. However, this very strength can lead to a dilution on focus. Cultural studies often appear as an intellectual smorgasbord where critics combine various texts and objects, finding connections without adequately researching the cultural context. This approach can result in a superficial understanding of cultures and their interactions, missing the deeper meanings and complexities that more focused studies might reveal. Intellectual smorgasbord. The eclectic nature of cultural studies allows for the artful blending of diverse texts and objects. Critics within this field may identify connections and meanings across different cultural artifacts. However, this practice can lead to criticisms of superficiality. Without thorough cultural research, the connections found may lack depth and fail to provide a comprehensive understanding of how cultures interact and evolve. This approach can reduce cultural studies to a collection of interesting but loosely connected observations. Critique of research rigor. Cultural studies often face criticism for lacking the rigorous research methodologies traditionally employed by historians. Unlike historical research, which relies on scientifically collected data, cultural studies may not always be grounded in such rigorous methods. As a result, it can lack the deep play and thick description that Clifford Geertz identified in his ethnographic studies. This deficiency can undermine the credibility and depth of cultural analysis, limiting the field's ability to provide thorough cultural insights. Pedagogical concerns. Pedagogical concerns also arise in the context of cultural studies. Students sometimes complain that professors who emphasize cultural studies tend to downplay the importance of reading classical texts. There are allegations that such professors may coerce students into adopting politically correct views, prioritizing contemporary over historical texts. This approach can lead to a fragmented understanding of literature and culture, where the foundational works are overlooked in favor of current trends and topics. Contemporary focus. David Richter describes cultural studies as focusing on whatever is happening at the moment, rather than on a body of texts created in the past. This contemporary focus often centers on mass media, which dominates the cultural lives of modern society. While some may view this focus as trivial, the strength of cultural studies lies in its critical attitude towards mass media. This critical approach helps to uncover the pervasive false consciousness propagated by media, challenging the seemingly transparent windows through which we view reality. Mass media critique. Cultural studies critically examine journalism, publishing, cinema, television, and other forms of mass media. These forms of mass media are often seen as the primary modes of false consciousness in contemporary society. Cultural studies challenge the transparency of mass media, revealing how they shape and distort our understanding of reality. This critique is essential in an era where mass media play a dominant role in shaping cultural perceptions and values. Popular versus elite culture. One significant contribution of cultural studies is its emphasis on the importance of popular culture. It reminds us that works like Hamlet and Huckleberry Finn were originally intended for popular consumption, not elite discussions in academic settings. Cultural studies highlight the significance of popular culture, challenging the traditional separation between high and low culture. This perspective broadens the scope of cultural analysis, including a wider range of cultural artifacts and practices. Culture wars in academia. The debate between defenders of humanism and advocates of cultural studies represents the ongoing culture wars in academia. Defenders of humanism argue that it is the foundation of Western civilization and modern democracy. In contrast, advocates of cultural studies like Marxist theorist Terry Eagleton view the current crisis in the humanity as a failure of humanism. This crisis is seen as a result of humanities negating their values in practice, highlighting the need for alternative approaches like cultural studies to address these issues. The crisis in humanities. Eagleton's perspective on the crisis in humanities underscores the limitations of traditional humanist approaches. He argues that humanities have failed to uphold their imperishable values, necessitating new methodologies to address contemporary cultural issues. Cultural studies offer diverse methodologies to tackle these questions, providing an alternative to the traditional humanities framework. This approach helps to address the evolving cultural landscape and the complex interactions within it. Conclusion. The limitations of cultural studies are intricately linked to its strengths. While the field offers diverse methodologies and a critical perspective on contemporary culture, it can also lack depth and rigorous research. Pedagogical concerns and the ongoing culture wars in academia further highlight these challenges. Despite these limitations, cultural studies remain a vital approach to understanding modern culture, providing valuable insights into the interactions and meanings within contemporary society. So this was the discussion on the limitations of cultural studies. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other topic. Until then, goodbye and thank you.